So hello and welcome to this episode of Adventure Bike Pilot. In this video we're going to be looking at day 4 of my Wild Atlantic Way route from Galway to Donegal, and I'll kick straight into it. So as you can see, as normal, this is going to be day 4. It's within the Wild Atlantic Way folder on my route app planner, and it's in another folder then called Galway to Donegal, Donegal D4 firm. Let me just click on that. So as you can see, as we mentioned in the last video, we're going to start and finish in Letterkenny here. Letterkenny being, I believe, the largest town stroke city of Donegal. It's considered, I believe, the capital of Donegal. So it's a really good launching spot from where we finished the day before to take in this section and then do this section before we head home then for the end of the trip. So I'll get straight into it. So straight from Kilkenny, from the Radisson, we're going to cut out of the town and head straight out and head for the little village of Ramilton. Now you could cut straight in along the mall of Ramilton, but this will take you out just to the back of it here, because there's a beautiful little section here of it where it brings you out along the harbour here, around the back of these old buildings. It's just really nice. Literally takes 30 seconds off the main loop. Then we're going to cut across the bridge here, a beautiful little stone bridge, and then we're going to cut out to the right, and that's going to bring us out along the coast road here, as you can see, and we're going to start heading further north out towards Rathmullen, continue on up here to point 4, which is Dromani, which is just a waypoint, and then out here to point number 5. So point number 5 is a viewing point. It is an actual point for looking out over Port Salon beach, or Port Salon, however you want to pronounce it. So you can see here, there's the viewing point itself, and there's the beach. So we're looking right up northbound towards the headland here. So we're basically going to be heading out this direction for the day. But Port Salon beach there is absolutely stunning, and if you get weather like that's in the picture here for the Google car, you'll be very lucky. As you can see, the road winds down and heads off out into the distance from here. So we'll head along Port Salon itself. We'll keep out onto the coast, and then we're going to head up here. You can drop down into Port Salon village itself, right out onto the to the seafront, right onto the pier here, and that's the beach that we were looking down on from the viewing point we were just on. It's a nice little town. Come back up off that along the main thoroughfare, and then we're going to continue on heading up north. Point number 7 there is just a waypoint to keep us along the coast road, and then we're going to head all the way up here, and this road is beautiful, and it brings you right the way up to the top, which is Malin Head lighthouse. And again, if you've got a drone, this is an absolutely stunning spot. You can pay to go into the lighthouse itself. There it is. There's an old room outhouse building here, but there's a car park here. From here on you have to walk up, and then there's a beautiful little you can't see it here, but there's a cleft in the mountainside here. You can walk out onto here and get some absolutely stunning views. It's really, really beautiful. So from Malin Head we're going to come back out and then head right over to the other side here, heading kind of west, southwest, all along the coast road here, keeping us honest along the coast. So you can see lighthouses back up here in the distance. We're going to be heading out along the coast here, and then we're going to kind of loop out here. Point number 9 is just a waypoint keeping us honest along the coastal road here. Just click on it there so you can see why. As you can see, it's absolutely stunning. And then we're going to come back in and continue on this way and all the way out here to point number 10, and 10 is Mamore, Malin Head. And again, this is a beautiful coast road. It gets a bit narrow and steep at sections, but nothing too strenuous, and it brings you out then to Mamore Head, where there's a huge caravan site. I believe you can drive through the caravan site. I haven't chanced it yet because I always got kind of funny looks when I was driving through here. I don't think they like people who aren't staying on the site to go through it, but I believe there's you can drive through it. If you wanted to, you can park up somewhere here, and then as you can see, if you cut across here, you can walk across there, and it'll basically bring you across here to a beach that can only be accessed on foot. If I can just click on it here, you can see there's the beach there. You can walk over to this beach. Again, absolutely stunning. It's only about, I don't know, a 15-minute walk, I suppose, but it's beautiful. Leaving there, we'll come back down again and then continue on around the headland itself, hitting point number 11, which is just a waypoint, keeping us honest along the coast road all the way down through here, and then down to point number 12, which is Ballyohagan, I think it's called. Just click on here. It's just keeping us honest all along the Wild Atlantic Way, and then that'll drop us down here, and we're heading for point number 13, and point number 13 is Doe Castle, or Castle Doe, depending on what way you want to pronounce it. But again, this is a dead end, but it's a beautiful castle right on the shoreline. It's quite small. It gets quite busy in here, but there is a little coffee shop in there, so it's a good place to stop for a coffee if you wanted to, and then come out. Just get a couple more of these photos of it if I can. Yeah, so you can see there's the castle itself from the inside. So yeah, so leaving Doe Castle, we'll drop back down onto the main thoroughfare, and then we'll head out along here, keeping us honest along the coast, and then we're heading for point number 14, 15 and 16, which is basically a loop of Horn Head. So you need to do the loop, otherwise you'll only see one half of it. There's a fantastic view along here, and then the top up of Horn Head itself is actually up here, so you're as well to go out and do it in a loop like this. Now again, it gets very, very steep. It goes really high up, but as you can see, it's absolutely stunning. Let me just go up a bit further. So it just keeps climbing. You can see even there from the image, it's quite steep. It just goes up and up and up and up. And then eventually you get to point number 15, which I think is the viewing point. Yeah, so if we get here, you're looking out over Horn Head itself there. So if you get weather like that, you'll be lucky. There's the viewing point there. You can see the WAW Wild Atlantic Way symbol. So you know you've hit the point once you've hit that. And then we're going to continue on out. You can actually go out. You can see just here there's a little castle out at the end. So if you continue on out the road here, you'll see it eventually comes to again a kind of a sharp turn. We're just going to momentarily take the right turn and follow the road up, and that'll bring you up again to usually quite a packed little car park right up at the top here. And from here then you can walk right up over the mountain head itself and go down to that little tower. You know, it's about a 10-minute walk if you're feeling energetic with all your gear on. We'll drop down out of there, go through Dunfanaway, we'll come down, and then we're starting to head more inland because if you remember from yesterday's video, we'd already kind of covered this section and made our way down through this way. So now we're going to head in towards point number 17, which is Ballybow Mountain. Again, it's just keeping us honest along the track. So you can see we're right through a beautiful valley here, and it takes you through. It's absolutely stunning. And that'll continue on down all the way back into Kilkenny. So a very short and sweet day. Now it's 117 miles. As I said, the previous 2 days, the reason for that is because the previous 2 days were quite large. You're probably going to be knackered at this stage. What I would say is if you wanted to do another big day, you could combine this with this section here and put them together. So I'll include this section into this video, so we do them as two, but you can do them as one depending on how you're feeling at the time after the 2 or 3 days previous. So without that, we'll go into to day 5, I think it is. So day 5 is obviously in the same folder, Wild Atlantic Way, Galway to Donegal, day 5, and this is the last day then of this trip, bar your commute home. And again, it's another short one. As I said, you could add it to the day 4 and do them all in one day if you were that way inclined. But let's go through the actual route itself. So again, we'll start at the Radisson or wherever you're staying in Kilkenny, and then we'll head out along this road here, and we're heading for point number 2, and up here, that's just a little place, a little spot called Moville. And the reason I've put that in is I haven't actually pulled into this spot yet. I have passed it on the main road, but not down actually onto this spot just yet. But the reason for that is to go down and see this location here. And if you're a movie buff like me, particularly if you're Irish, you may know this pub from the movie Grabbers. All of that was filmed here between this pub here and out here on the pier. The vast majority of this pub or this movie was shot here. There are other sections of it that were actually filmed up on Slieve League. And when I go to vlog this, I'll actually show them to you when we're on the route. But yeah, so it's just a point I wanted to pull in and see on this the next time I'm up there. So we'll come out of Moville and we'll head down, and you could go further north and out this way, but on this trip I wanted to cut up over this mountain road. So point 3 is just bringing us here, and it'll bring us up over this mountain road here. As you can see, it goes quite high up, and it goes up and up and up over this mountain. It's absolutely stunning. So that's why I've kind of backtracked a little bit on this one. But you can absolutely go out along this way, and then that will cut us all the way up towards the north. Point number 4 is just a waypoint keeping us honest along here, and then we'll go up towards point number 5, which is known as the Wee House of Malin, because we're up near Malin Head here. And I'll just zoom out here. So there's the Wee House of Malin. I have to look up the history of this, to be honest with you. I've put it on because I want to go and see it, but there's clearly a deeper history to this house. But even the house aside, it's a beautiful viewing spot to go down and have a look at. We'll come back up onto the main thoroughfare, keeping along the coast, and then we're going to head out here, and we'll take the turn off here for Malin Head. And Malin Head is the most northerly point in Ireland, so you can't go any further north than Malin Head up here. Again, I think I have some video footage of this, or aerial footage of it. If I do, I'll put it in. But you can drive right up to the castle here at the top, so you can drive right up here, and there's usually a little coffee van as well here, and there's loads of little things to see. Just over where this person here is standing are white rocks put into the ground to put in the name of Éire, or the Irish for Ireland again. But yeah, so it's full of history. Obviously, it's Ireland's most northerly point. The UK equivalent, I suppose, would be John O'Groats, although John O'Groats technically isn't the most northerly point. It's actually Dunnet Head, which is slightly further north. But this would be on comparison to what those would be in the UK. And then when you come down off here, you take a right when you're coming back off, and it brings you on this stunning coast road. And there's a beautiful little pull-in point here as well, point number 7. Somebody's already parked in it in the Google Maps, and it just looks back out over along the coastline. Absolutely stunning. And then when you continue on, we're going to continue on this road here, and this is it's a beautiful road. from there we're going to continue out, so that's point number 7. We're going to start heading back kind of southwards from this point, and then we'll hit point number 8, and point number 8 is just a coast road keeping us honest. Again, I'll just zoom in so you can see there's the coast. It's bringing us up along this mountain ridge with the coast to one side of us, and then we get to point number 9, which is along that coast road, which is the overlook for Five Finger Strand. So you can see there's the car park there. You can just pull in off the road, and then you're looking down over Five Finger Strand. Doesn't look great in this image, but I have some drone footage I'll insert here, and you'll see that that if the sun is shining, this is just an incredible view. The water goes a beautiful color. The sand and the green of the countryside just lights up. It's absolutely fantastic. Don't miss this spot, particularly if the sun is shining. So from there, then we'll continue on down. We'll drop down the road. If you want to go down and walk onto that beach, that's point number 10. Point number 10 will bring you down to the little car park in it. Be careful, obviously, it starts to fill up with sand. But there, and again, it gets very busy with traffic. But you can drive right down onto it and then walk along the beach. So the viewing point we were just at is up here somewhere. There's the beach itself. And again, this is another location from the movie Grabbers. So it's another one that I'm glad actually I've got that on video footage. And then we'll continue on down. Excuse me, just clicked on the wrong button there. We'll continue on heading on out here. This is going to keep us all honest along the coast, and then you get to point number 12, which is just point number 12 is just a waypoint, but it's bringing us down to point number 13 and 14, and this is the Lenan military fort. It's an old fort that's been deserted now, and it's still in place. If I can just drive up, there's actually 2 points here. There's a pier with a beautiful beach here. Again, I've drone footage of this, I'll put it up. But on your way into that beach, there's a little turn off, and if you blink you'd miss it, and you'd hardly notice the fort as well. I'll just go back a bit further here, because this is important if you're going to go to it. Yeah, so you'll come in here, and there's the road up to it. You'll continue on, and as you're driving this road, you'll eventually notice a little dirt track off to your right hand side. That's not it, it's a bit further up, I think. Yeah, so you can see it kind of spins off, and then this road here turns into a dirt track, and then dug into the ground itself, you'll see all of these buildings. See the chimneys just sticking up from them. That's an old military base. Just get a bit closer here. So you can see the trenches are built down into the ground. Some of the buildings are above ground, but most of them are dug down into the ground itself. I must actually look up more of the history of it, but this picture isn't doing it justice. When you're there, it's actually a huge site, and an awful lot of it is actually subterranean. It's a really, really interesting, curious site. So I definitely need to look up my history a bit more of it. Now when you come out of there, we're going to continue on up along the coast road, this beautiful piece of road, and then go up here, and then you're going to take a really sharp turn here. Let me just see if I can get it on the, as you can see it's quite narrow. We're going to go up. I've gone too far there. Yep, and there's the sharp turn. So we're going to come up from here and then head up this road. So it's a sharp turn, and then this road becomes incredibly steep, and this is called the Mamore Gap. And there's a little coffee bean shop or coffee van up halfway up it as well, with a viewing point. So you can see, actually that's the pull-in point. You'll notice the statue here, and again this is another scene from the Grabbers movie. The very end scene actually is just here. It's a great movie if you ever get the chance to watch it. But halfway down here you'll notice that there's a little point where there's a little coffee van, and you can pull in and get a great view back over the coastline. There it is there. See the white van? So there. You can pull up onto that and there's a great view back. So then you go up over that. We've passed Mamore Gap. You'll drop down, and then we're heading out for point 18. And again, this is another fort. It's not a subterranean fort. It is being abandoned, but it's another great place to pull in. There's a little museum in there you can pay to go into it as well. Fort Dunree is this one, and there's a coffee shop here as well. That's the coffee shop there. But it's built right on the coast, and I think this was in operation up until only a few decades ago. You can see there's a couple of big cannons. Normally there's a tank sat there. It's not there in this picture. There's the fort itself built into the cliff face. There's actually another fort just across the bay over there, and the idea being if any ships sailed in here, they were caught in a crossfire, they could be absolutely blown out of the water. There's all these little huts down here, but by all means make sure you go up, see where these blue gates are. Even if you don't pay to go into the visitor centre, you can go up here, and all the old deserted barracks are all up there, and it's a really beautiful walk as well as an interesting little historical site. But definitely don't miss Fort Dunree. It's really, really good. So from there we'll just pop out and continue on through the road all the way down, and then you're going to get to point number 19. Point number 19 is I think that's just the entrance to Inch Island. You can go over to Inch Island there. There's not a lot to see on it, to be honest with you. The only reason I actually go over to it is because it's an island called Inch. But there is some nice views off it. Like it's a nice spot to go over and see. And then from there you can continue on to the road. Then we head down for point number 20, and 20 is up this little back road, and it's a beautiful spot called Greenon of Ailic Ringfort. So there's a little car park you drive up to. Let me just get in a bit closer. And there's the ring fort there. Again, it's one of these ancient ring forts. You know, I'm not sure how old it is, but it's old. I'll put up a link to how old it is. But well worth the few minutes off the beaten track to go up and get into it. That's inside of it. As you can see, it's all these tiered levels. You can walk up the steps. There's little interior doors and all sorts of little tunnels and all inside it. But it's a fantastic little spot to go and see. It's way up on top of the hills, so it gets a great look out over the entire county nearly. But well worth the effort to go up there. So then after that, it's basically the trip home. It's all the way back in for the evening, where you stay in the hotel in Kilkenny or wherever you're staying. As I said, you could probably link this up with day 4 and make one big long day out of it, depending on your weather. But for me, I'd usually, because the first 3 days have been quite long, I'll break these into 2 smaller bites, because at that point you're usually knackered. But if you're up for it, just combine day 4 and 5. So that's everything. That's everything for this section of it. That actually, in fact, closes off the Wild Atlantic Way from south to north. The only thing I'd do now after that is I'd normally make my way home. I'd probably make another day of it at least, taking along this section here, all along this coast, which is the Causeway coastline. It's not part of the Wild Atlantic Way, so I'm not going to include it in this. That's for another day's video. But I would, because I'm heading for Dublin, I would make my way home along the coast here, and you would take in the likes of the Giant's Causeway and the Carrick-on-Reed rope bridge, you know, the Larne to Cushendall Road, Tor Head. You know, there's a load of stuff in here. The trees from Game of Thrones, I can't remember what they're called, but it's an absolutely phenomenal drive continuing on from here. There's a ton of stuff. The other thing I would also say then is that whilst this focuses on the Wild Atlantic Way, Donegal has a ton of amazing stuff on the interior of the county as well. I mean, we've only even just scratched the surface of Donegal. It's a deceptively large county. It's a harder drive, I find, than Kerry or you know, the Ring of Kerry or Dingle or any of them. It doesn't flow as well when you're coming in off the coastline, but it is absolutely well worth it. It mile for mile, it packs just as much of a punch, if not more, than Kerry and all of that. But don't ignore all of this section, you know, particularly in around the likes of Glenveigh National Park, you know, Fintown. All around here, there is a lot more to see in Donegal the Wild Atlantic Way is just one coastal route within that section that covers the whole length of the country, so don't be afraid to go into that. But other than that, that ends basically the series for the Wild Atlantic Way. It's been a long one. If you've watched them all, fair play to you. Thank you so much for watching. There was a lot to get through. I know it can be quite tough, but I think it's worth it if you've never done it before, or even if you've done it before but didn't know all of the places. And by all means, I don't know all of the places in it either, so if there's anywhere I've missed and you feel that they were, you know, somewhere of note that I should go and see, let me know, and I'll absolutely include it in my journeys going forward. But thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of work put into putting all of this together. It's taken an awful lot longer than I expected it to be, so thank you again for your patience. So that's it. Thanks again, and hopefully we'll have lots more trips to go through. Hopefully all these COVID-19 lockdowns will finish soon and we'll be back on the road, and hopefully that's where I'll see you guys, on the road, rubber side down. Okay, take care folks, have fun.